Hello and welcome to the podcast. Today we are talking about something that I will just start by saying I have struggled with my entire life, but especially being in a relationship with somebody who had sexual compulsive behaviors and who had a lot of gaslighting and minimizing. It kind of exasperated this issue that I already had. And I see this often in clients. So if any of this resonates with you, we're going to talk about what it is and how to move forward and how to heal from it. So, what we're talking about today is this idea or this concept of this pull to make someone else's reality become your reality, to internalize your partner's version or view of things, to internalize that and make that your own while disconnecting from your own truth and the importance of learning how to A, recognize it, and then B, reclaim your own internalized authority and your own clarity. So that's what we're going to talk about today. This one is a topic that really to me feels important. It's funny because what my brain wants to do is go like, this is so essential. But there's so many tools and concepts that are essential that I don't want to do that because I don't want to put on this pressure of you have to do this or you're not okay. If you are taking on somebody else's sense of reality, it is pretty problematic and it's going to impact you, your mental health, your mental well being. And if you hear this and you go, crap, Alana, I'm not ready to do this yet, I'm going to validate that and say that you can start working on this at any point in your journey. The sooner you do it, though, the sooner you're able to get in reality, the sooner your mental health will start being impacted in positive ways because reality and being in reality is at the core of being able to move forward and heal. If we're trying to move forward and heal off of a false reality or we're giving away parts of ourselves, it makes a pretty unstable foundation to move forward. So let's dive into this and let's figure out where we may get off course and how we can reroute. So the first thing I want to look at is why we do it. And this comes back to attachment. And if you've been a longtime listener, you're going to hear me kind of describe attachment a little bit and go, yeah. Okay, Alana, you've said this many times. But I also know that there are new ones of you who are coming to me and you are a new listener and these are new concepts. So I'm going to slow this down and explain this. If you've heard it at 10, you can just fast forward me. But for those of you who are just hearing this, attachment is so critical in understanding why betrayal hurts the way it hurts and why we do a lot of what we do. So, attachment at its core is we come to this earth as this little baby and we are completely helpless. We need somebody to feed us. We need someone to change our diaper. We need somebody to tend to our needs. We need touch. These things are essential for this newborn baby to be able to not only survive, especially survive, but then one day thrive. And so our brain hooks attachment to that survival part of the brain. And it goes, I need attachment to survive. And the thing is that attachment hooked to survival does not go away with age. We actually maintain of this, I need attachment to survive. And our attachments look differently throughout our life. When we're children, it's whoever is that primary caregiver is who our brain will attach to. But later in life, when we get in a relationship and we have a significant other, our brain shifts that attachment to that person. And have you ever noticed when you're in a relationship with somebody and you two are not okay? We're not connecting, we're not aligned, we're fighting. Do you notice how much more intense that feels with them than anyone else? It is because of that attachment and it being connected to that survival part of your brain. So when we have an attachment injury, when the person we turn to that says, you are supposed to be the one to keep me safe and be there for me, and I'm attached to you, when they are the ones who, in essence, rip that rug out from under you, that attachment injury is so much deeper and you're so much more likely to get PTSD from that relationship or that attachment injury than you are from other people in your life injuring you. And so understanding this piece of attachment and how it's connected to that survival part of our brain, there is this concept of betrayal blindness. And with betrayal blindness, and this comes from Michelle May's book, you can get that book, and she goes into a good chunk of pages talking about betrayal blindness. But it comes from this needing things to be okay with our attachment figure so we can feel safe and feel like we're all right in the world. And so a lot of times we will take things and shift the way that we see them in able to maintain that relationship and maintain that feeling of being able to attach to somebody. Because if the person we're trying to attach to does not feel safe, then our brain feels very insecure, unsafe. The survival part is activated. And so we try to make ways of, okay, wait, no, this is okay. And a lot of times that we have that betrayal blindness is we flip it around and we go, in what ways am I the problem? In what ways am I doing it wrong? Am I seeing it wrong? Am I hearing it wrong? And so when we have somebody else's version of reality coming in to view, it's easy to get pulled into that version of reality. Now, if you're in a relationship and say the other person's version of reality aligns with yours, that's not a problem uh, because you're still able to maintain that sense of you. But if you are in a relationship with somebody where their version of reality is protecting acting out behaviors, is protecting hiding, it's protecting themselves, and they are trying to give you this version of reality and either trying to pull you into theirs of, no, 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 you need to see it my way, or you are abandoning yours to go make sense of theirs and let their reality become your reality, then there is a sense of abandoning ourselves. Do you see how problematic that is? And it can happen in such little subtle ways that a lot of times we don't even recognize these patterns are happening until we're deeply ingrained in them. And so it's really important to start looking for these patterns and start seeing where we might be getting pulled into this. So let's kind of look at this of what this could look like in a day-to-day basis. This could sound like or look like you second guessing your intuition when it doesn't align with what they tell you, or second guessing your memory. And it may sound like in your own head, well, okay, hold on. Maybe I'm remembering this wrong. Okay, what actually happened? Or, well, maybe this feels off, but it's not actually off. What if they just did this? Okay, well, in the past, they've done this and that was okay. So maybe it was this. And you hear this questioning that starts happening when your reality isn't aligning with either the reality you want to have or the reality that they're telling you. And I'll say, for me specifically, the reality I want to have, that's where for me, I really got myself in trouble. I had this reality of what I wanted. I wanted where he wasn't acting out, where he was really working on his recovery, where he was doing the things necessary to heal, where he was committed to me or focused on the relationship, or he was investing. And so that's the reality I wanted. And so I tried to look for things or ways to make that reality true, almost that confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is if I buy a brand new blue car and all of a sudden I start seeing blue cars everywhere, it's because my brain now has this new confirmation bias of, oh, there's blue cars out there. And so I'm seeing them all over. Well, I would do something similar with this is a reality I want. So I was looking for every way to make that reality true. Oh, He called me and said, "Hey, I was feeling a little triggered today, so I reached out to my sponsor and I'm just keeping you in the loop." Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. This is like confirmation he is doing his work. Now, never mind that he did all of these other behaviors the last 2 weeks. None of those matter now because he did this one thing and that feels good. I would discount all of this reality and hold on to the one I wanted so it could align with this reality I wanted. Other times, when he was deep in the thick of the acting out, it would sound more like, I feel uncomfortable around your interactions with this person from work. It just doesn't feel good. Oh, no, 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 no. You don't need to worry about that because this person, they are just really annoying to me. And I'm only doing these work lunches with them because that's what my boss says I have to do. Oh, that doesn't feel good, but I want to believe that's true. So I'm gonna twist my reality and my intuition to align with what he's saying. Do you see how that process can happen and how it can happen in these little ways that become this insidious pattern that really starts to shift us away from our own reality? Another way that it can show up is when we are waiting for the other person to validate our reality or experience, meaning unless they agree and say it's true, then it's not true. Or if they don't admit it, then maybe it's not true. We are waiting for them to say, yes, that's true, or no, that's not true before it becomes true or right for us. So, in some ways, we're almost giving our power to the other person to say what our reality or experience is. And gosh, yeah, the amount of times that I got caught in that too, more often than I want to admit. And then the last one, feeling gaslit. Feeling gaslit, even if unintentionally, by your partner when they're minimizing, denying, or justifying behavior. And just recognizing that they're minimizing, they're justifying, they're trying to make it make sense when you know in your heart it's not right. And then you getting pulled into that minimizing and that justifying behavior as well. And in one way, sometimes I'll see that come up is when somebody is describing it to me in one of our sessions and they're hearing themselves out loud, because in our head, it can happen so much easier. And then as they're saying it out loud to me, they start kind of feeling the discomfort of like, oh, yeah, no, okay, that doesn't actually sound very good. And it doesn't feel very good. But in their head, they are able to get wrapped up into that minimizing and justifying it themselves. So, some of the reasons this happens is not just the betrayal blindness. While that is a big piece of it, some of this is a trauma response. Like you literally are trying to find safety in making sense of the relationship, and you're trying to find safety in making sense of them. And so there is that trauma response that can show up in that. And then again, that betrayal blindness is that survival mechanism. So some of why we do this is simply to survive. Aligning with the betrayer's story can feel safer than even facing the pain of not only reality, but the pain of the feelings of truth. I'm going to say that again. Aligning with the betrayer's story can feel safer than facing the pain of the truth. So sometimes those feelings can be so painful. And sometimes those feelings are described as like, I feel like I'm dying. I feel like my heart is being ripped out of my chest. I feel like I'm going to have an anxiety attack. Those huge feelings, that survival mechanism can kick in to prevent us from feeling these big feelings that feel like they will overrun us and drown us. And then some of this is also conditioning, growing up to defer to others' truths over your own. I see this especially in women, and I see this especially in women who have been raised in Orthodox religion, because sometimes I see in religion where there's so many good benefits to religion, but this is one of those where it's almost like, no, you need to not focus on what feels right to you or what that is. You need to just follow your pastor or follow your bishop or your clergy person. whoever that person is, you defer to them over what feels right or wrong to you. And so I can see that conditioning in families. No, mom and dad know what's best for you, or mom or dad. Or I can see that in religion, the church, or this person knows what's best for you. And so that conditioning can make you more primed to get pulled into these patterns with your partner. And that was completely the case for me, is I was well conditioned moving into my relationship that this became very easy for me to do, looking at all of these pieces. And the reason I want to highlight all of these pieces is to allow you some room to be able to have self compassion. And we're not looking at excuses, we're looking at explanations of what plays into it. Because when we own what plays into it, then that allows us to start breaking free and to start seeing the patterns for what they are and then choosing differently. So I'll say the problem if we don't. If we don't start facing this and we don't start tackling this, this does come at a cost, and it already is coming at a cost. But one of the big costs is the emotional and psychological harm that comes from discounting your own truth and your own reality. You lose a sense of self trust. There's that feeling of self betrayal. There's confusion. There's self doubt. There's shame. There's insecurity in making choices or taking steps forward. Brain fog, all of those things, those emotional, psychological pieces really impact your ability to make healthy decisions and move forward, and really impacts that relationship with yourself. And I'll just say that loss of trust in yourself, that loss of trust in your body, that loss of trust in your intuition is such a great injury that truly needs to be tended to. You come to this earth, and from that first breath you take until that last breath you take, it is you that you are with at all times, nobody else. And so, really healing that relationship with yourself and coming back and reclaiming your truth and your reality and building that trust in yourself and rebuilding that trust in your body and healing that trust in your intuition is such beautiful, hard, beautiful work. We're going to take a really fast break and tell you about some of the things coming up at Choose. Do you ever have those moments where something just hits you and you know it's so right and you think, why did I not think of this sooner? I had one of those this morning, actually. And when I have these moments, I don't want to wait. So I had this aha this morning, and I've thought of this first part of this concept many times before of not everybody has the means financially to get the healing that they need. I know that there's many of you who listen to this podcast because that's what you can afford. And you would love to do more work, and it feels so out of reach of how do you do it. And I want to give back and help in this way. And so my aha this morning is, why don't we choose recovery services? Why don't we have a scholarship program where those of you who need help and need to get the services and you don't have any other way can get some help? And this next one, this next intensive we have coming up specifically, we have intensives all year round. But this one, the end of April, is the betrayal trauma healing intensive that really springs forward your healing and your recovery. It takes you often from feeling very stuck and how in the world am I going to heal from this to, oh my gosh, I know how to heal and I have tools and I can do this. And so if like this is speaking to you and you're going, that's me. I need help. I want to do the work. I'm listening to the podcast. I'm reading the books. I'm doing what I can do on my own, and I need extra help, and I don't have the financial means for it. Please reach out to us. I am working with our office manager, Vanessa, on creating an application for you So reach out, email info@chooserecoveryservices.com. Say, hey, please send me the application. And hopefully by the time this airs, we have the application already up and running. And you can just pull that from the website, but where you can apply for a scholarship to get the help that you need. So full and partial scholarships. We want to offer this help to more people and offer more resources. So again, if you need the help and you are willing to do the work and put one foot in front of the other and come out to our office at the base of the Wasatch Mountains in Utah in April, the weather is getting gorgeous, the land is beautiful, and come to our healing space. So if you want that help with it, join us at chooserecoveryservices.com/intensives, and you can learn all about the intensive. And then for the scholarship, you can email info@chooserecoveryservices.com. I am so excited to spend this time with you. Okay, and now back to the episode. Also, one of the other costs if we don't do this is it prolongs pain and suffering. So if we want to really allow healing to move forward and to progress, which I'm sure if you're listening to this, like, yes, I do, because I don't want to be in this pain, then we want to allow for this healing so we are not prolonged, stuck in the cycle of needing that other person to do things for us so we can be okay. In essence, it's kind of taking our power and externalizing it and giving it to somebody else. Now we don't have that internal locus of control, and you do get stuck really fast in that way. So it is bringing back that sense into that internal sense of locus of control where you do actually have power and you are able to heal and move forward and get unstuck. So, Alana, how in the world do we do that? First, we watch for some of those just internal markers. Some of those internal markers are feeling crazy or foggy or unsure after conversations. I feel like I understand and know where I'm at headed in. And by the end, I'm just confused and a mess. That's one of those markers we're going to watch for. Another one is knowing something deep down, but doubting it because it wasn't confirmed. That's a marker we're getting pulled into this. And the last one is noticing that your peace hinges on their honesty instead of your own knowing. I'm going to say that one again because it's really important. Noticing that your peace hinges on their honesty instead of your knowing. That lets us know that we're in it. We're in it deep. So in reclaiming our inner truth, we really want to start with awareness. I feel like all of this always starts with awareness. You're sitting here listening. There's some level of awareness, but also a grounding and a somatic awareness. What does truth feel like in my body? Your body does not lie. But a lot of times, especially with trauma, we get disconnected from our body. It's almost like there is this imagine like you have the head brain, the heart brain, and the gut brain, and we get cut off at the neck. And so we're trying to do this all with our head brain and make sense of it. But so much of our knowing is happening in our heart brain and our stomach brain, in our feelings and our intuition and our values and our knowing. And so we want to do these physical grounding and this somatic work to bring our body online and be able to hear the truths that it's telling us. I will just say too, we just did a parts work intensive. It was so good and so powerful. And I want to do more of these because I saw things click into place and changes in ways with this one that I haven't seen in other ways. And parts work did a really good job of bringing together these different parts of you that feel these different ways, but also bring in the parts of like your higher knowing and bring in parts of your body and bring in these different parts that do know. And it kind of helps you sort through all of them. So like in parts work, it may be like, what parts of you want to believe him to feel safe? And what parts of you say no, but something is off? And what parts of you are discounting your reality? What parts of you are really feeling like you understand, right? Just breaking that down, that can be really helpful. The thought that comes to my mind too is just kind of putting out there, truth doesn't need permission. So it can sound like some of my internal thinking of, even if they never validate it, I know what I saw, or I know what I felt, and I know what I experienced. And allowing them to be where they are at, allowing them to have a different view of reality. Oh my gosh, is that one hard? That they are claiming this or seeing it this way, and this is their experience. And that gets to be their experience. Even if you don't agree with it, even if it's not reality, as an adult, they get to have that different experience. But you can stay grounded in, I know what I saw, or I know what I felt, or I know what I experienced. Staying anchored in your truth. I love that image of an anchor. I almost think of a ship. And when you drop the anchor, we had a boat for a while. And when we would drop the anchor on the boat didn't like perfectly stay still. It still moved some with the water, and it still had a little bit of movement, but it wasn't going anywhere. And so, yes, when I'm anchored, my partner saying things or doing things that feel disorienting will impact me and may move my boat, but I can stay anchored in myself. I can stay anchored in truth. I can stay anchored, grounded in reality. And then I'm not going to get pulled all over the place. So, using some anchoring phrases or affirmations could be like, I trust my body, or my reality is enough. Or if we're not quite to those places, is I'm practicing listening to myself. I'm going to tune in and see what this really feels like. I have different parts in me with different goals, and I'm going to hear each part. Creating some of those anchoring phrases to help bring you back into yourself. My reality does not have to be their reality. My truth doesn't have to be their truth. And I'll say, if the phrase for you, my truth, is triggering, do some work around that. Because even that, like if you are feeling triggered by that phrase of my truth, there is a good chance that somebody has tried to pull you out of your truth a lot, that maybe it even feels dangerous to you to be able to step into that, to recognize that and to honor that. Another tool of staying anchored is allowing yourself to check in with safe people. So it may sound something like you're meeting with your therapist, and it's, this is what happened, and this is what my reality feels like, and this is what I'm being pulled to. And I just need a safe person to bounce this off of to see if I am in reality. Or it could be your support group. What we don't want is, we don't want people who are just instantly going to go to saying whatever they're going to say to make you feel good, but ones that you can trust, that will give you honest feedback and will be a safe place for you to discover what is your truth. Not people who are just going to say, no, 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 this is your reality. Let me tell you your reality. That is, in essence, the same thing that's happening on the other side. It's more of people who say, what does that feel like to you? What is your body telling you? How are you trusting yourself in this? The people who are actually going to turn you back towards you and be that safe nervous system in that safe place for you to turn inside and explore that. But they're not stepping into that role too of telling you what your reality is. And then the last one is boundaries. And my hesitation, you hear me like, boundaries, is because I know boundaries feel really huge and really big. And if you're just starting, they can feel sometimes like a huge mountain of, I don't even know how I'm going to cross that. But having those boundaries where you give yourself permission that you don't have to debate your reality with somebody else, especially somebody else who benefits from you questioning it. The boundary could be that I'm not going to argue what my reality is. And that's just an internal boundary for you. My boundary is if somebody else is denying what I know or saw or feel, that I can let them have their own experience, but I'm not going to discount mine. That's my personal boundary. And I'll just say, if you're in a place of like, Alana, I don't know how to do boundaries, go back through the podcast because we've tackled boundaries multiple times. Probably time for us to tackle them again. But I would say in January of 25, we had Laura Fisher come on and we talked about boundaries. That would be a great episode to go and re-listen to. But having some of these boundaries with yourself. And so you can start breaking the patterns because this is not one. This is one where it could be easy of going, they're to blame. They're minimizing, they're denying, they're messing up my reality. They're trying to convince me otherwise. They. But you hear how, again, that's still giving your power away. They can do that. They can try to do that all they want. But for you, it's you who has to make the change. It's you who has to give away your power or reclaim or retain your power. It's you who stays in your center of control. Your locus of control is internal. You really do have the power here to be able to start making these changes. And just like any new skill, if we're going to go start lifting weights and we've never done it before, or we haven't done it in a really long time, we may have to start with 3-pound weights or 5-pound and work our way up to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. So give yourself time to be where you are today. Give yourself grace and compassion for where you are today. And then start deciding on how I want to work on this and what I want to do to move forward. You don't have to wait for someone else to start validating your truth. They don't have to do anything different. So I encourage you to start practicing reclaiming that inner knowing this week, like right now. And here's a journal question for you. Where have I traded my truth for someone else's comfort? Where have I traded my truth for someone else's comfort? That's what I want you to start with. That's going to give you pieces. And if it doesn't give you pieces because you don't have the same issues Alana has, I'm happy for you. But if you resonated with this, if you're like, oh, Alana, yeah, I get you. We're in the same boat on this one. Then really look at what ways have you tried to keep someone else comfortable, or what ways have you been allowed yourself to step into someone else's reality instead of your own. And just look at that. Really quick, we do have coming up here a betrayal trauma intensive. I will just say these intensives are my passion project. I love seeing the growth that people come from the time that they show up until the time that they leave. So if you are going through betrayal, do not do this alone. Come hang out with me, with Laura Fisher, with Hallie Roderick, Sarah Jennings. I don't think Sarah's been on the podcast, but Hallie's been on the podcast multiple times. Laura is the one I mentioned. She's been on the podcast. We have a team of just powerful, powerful women who have done the work to heal. And we're still doing the work because we're humans and we're all learning and growing at all times. So come be with us. Let us show you the path. Let us walk you and let you experience what that healing feels like in real time. So that's in April. And then in August, we have our somatic intensive, which that one really just takes your healing to a whole nother level. It really gets into your body and helps your body heal and just click things into places. So we have a couple of those coming up. And the only other one I'm going to talk about is the Heal the Healer. If you are in a healing profession where you are constantly taking care of and tending to someone else, and you want to come and just be tended to, it means you come and we take care of all of your meals and all of your activities, and we offer self-care galore and all of these healing opportunities. Come be with us. We have a beautiful lodge in the mountains, the Wasatch Mountains here in Utah, and Heal the Healer is going to be amazing. And if you have a therapist you love, or a coach you love, send them our way because we would love to take care of them so they can better take care of you. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Keep offering yourself that grace and compassion. You are doing so good. I know it's hard and I know it hurts. And I know that you probably have times of just being so exhausted and you don't want to be strong anymore. And I hear you and I validate that. I'm so proud of you for that tenacity and the resilience you have to just keep putting one foot in front of the other. So, as always, thanks for hanging out this week. And we look forward to seeing you all next week.
Hi, my name is Hallie Roderick with Choose Recovery Services. And if you're a woman healing from betrayal trauma and you find yourself feeling stuck or experiencing overwhelming triggers, having a difficult time trusting yourself, or even thinking about trusting others, or having a hard time understanding what healthy boundaries are, how to hold those, I want to invite you to consider joining us at our upcoming Courage to Thrive Intensive, held on April 23rd through 26th in Spanish Fork, Utah. These intensives are one of my favorite things to be a part of because healing happens in community. There's just something different that happens when you're in person with other women who maybe your stories aren't exactly the same, but there's a mutual understanding and a safety that is created by being in a common community. So if this sounds like something that would be beneficial to you, please check the show notes, reach out to our office to get more information, and come see us in Utah on April 23rd through 26th. We'd love to have you join us.
I'd love to share with you what's upcoming, and we have something really unique coming up in June. So, for those of you who are in a healing profession who is helping take care of other people, therapists, coaches, especially, but even if you're a nurse working in the medical field, if you spend your time catering to everyone else and holding their pain and helping them through their hard, we have an intensive just for you. This is called Heal the Healer. And I love all my intensives, but this one holds such a special place in my heart because in Heal the Healer, it's where the healer gets to come and for a moment set everything down and let you be taken care of. And this isn't where you're going to come do a ton of workshops and lots of learning and have to stretch your brain. It's just where you get to come relax. You get to kick your feet up and have other professionals there ready to take care of you and cater to you. We have a gorgeous lodge house resort property that's all ours that has pools and saunas and ponds and paths and trails, and it's tucked in the Wasatch Mountains. We have a gorgeous place to stay. All of your meals are included. Activities are included. There'll be time for fun if you want to participate in that, and also time for downtime and rest. And best of all, you get that connection with other strong women who are holding it all together for somebody else and who are ready to be taken care of. So invest in you. Take care of you. We would love to have you there. I would love to hang out with you and come with us in June to Heal the Healer.
I'm very excited to tell you about the Unmasked Intensive we have coming up in May. It's May 13th through the 16th in Spanish Fork, Utah. The name of the intensive is Unmasked Paths to Authentic Masculinity. Let me tell you some of the things we're going to accomplish. We're going to explore some root causes, like at the end of the day, what's underneath this behavior? What's the why behind it? What's the insights into understanding why my behavior existed, the one that kept me in secrecy and hiding? We're going to embrace vulnerability. So we're going to confront a lot of the struggles of that non-judgmental space so you can foster more authentic connections with the people that you love. We're going to realign with your values. We're going to learn new coping strategies, and we're going to forge some authentic connection. We're going to build a lot of camaraderie to hear that happens. I wanted to share with you what previous participants have said about this transformation. So here's what one guy said. I'm just going to read it to you. I loved the connection with those around me. It was eye-opening to learn how to open up and show love for myself and be okay with what's going on inside of me, no matter how hard or ugly I may see it. I specifically remember this man saying this and just being astounded by like, wow, if I'm around people that really open up, what can I explore and learn about myself in this intensive? He found it to be really eye-opening. So anyway, for more information and reserve your spot, go ahead and visit our website and we'll provide some information for you. and then take the time to invest in yourself so you can start to lean in a more authentic way in your life. Looking forward to seeing you there.